I definitely think that people in New Hampshire are more involved in politics, and there's a few reasons. One is just the nature of our government, that we are governed by towns and we have town meetings. I think people are used to being more involved and having more of a say, really about like kind of nitty gritty details that other people in other states really don't know anything about. And then I think with the whole first in the nation primary, I think people actually take it pretty seriously.
Just the other day, my 12-year-olds came home for school and they were discussing campaigns and elections, and he declared his support for Marco Rubio because he was mad about the national debt and then some other issue. And so it's really fun, being able to take all this, what's going on in the state, and bring it into the classroom and engaging our kids on it. It's fun to watch.
Well, there is a good sentiment in the town of respect for people who run for office. I've had people still meet me on the street and say, "Hi, you're still in the House?" And I say, "No, I'm not now." But they admire you for tackling it.
Actually, I owned a small town store in a little small town, and it was time for an election. We had 3 selectmen that were all retired, older. And somehow on the Friday before the Tuesday election, I was convinced to run as a write-in candidate. And I remember saying to my wife, don't worry, write-in candidates never win. And the following week, I was at my first select board meeting.
The first time I voted, I just don't recall. I think I never really got interested in it. I think I voted for George Bush Sr.
It was the 2008 presidential election. I remember voting in the primary, and I was definitely overwhelmed. There were so many candidates. I remember hearing Joe Biden speak, and I was really impressed by his 5-point plan to get out of Iraq. And also, I was impressed by the fact that he showed up on time. Like, he was the only one I went to see who was punctual.
1988 was a fantastic year, and I got to vote for Ron Paul.
We didn't have to vote for Truman because he was went in by succession, by appointee. So I'm not sure if I was voting age when Roosevelt ran for the 4th time or not.
The first time I voted was in a primary. I remember I voted for Pat Buchanan, who actually won the New Hampshire primary that year.
I was raised a Catholic, and I went to a Catholic school outside of Chicago. And all the nuns said we needed to vote for John Kennedy because he was Catholic, and that was just enough to make me to go voting. Going out to a wrestling match, I learned to drive a gear shift car. An auto dealer loaned us a car, and I drove out somewhere out in the country, and there was some sort of like a boxing or wrestling match, and we passed out these Halloween clickers that said "Click for Dick." I only did it just to be contrary, I'm sure, because I was young.